So how's it going? Path of Exile 2 has been in a crazy state so far. They're kind of reverting back. Not reverting back fully, but hearing what people have to say and changing some things up. So today we have what they're working on. It says many people are reporting that the gameplay is feeling too slow. Sometimes this comes in the form of people saying that the monster's life is too high or the player damage is too low or areas that are taking too long. I can see that. Sometimes the areas are so huge. It's like Jesus Christ. And the moment in this post, we will talk about some of the things that we have already done and more of the changes that we're planning on making. It says Huntress specific concerns. One of the major concerns that we have seen for the Huntress is that a lot of the power of the class is locked behind the parry mechanics, and some players do not wish to parry. Getting frenzy charges while parrying is an option available to the class later on, but there are no early game options that don't involve parrying. We want to give early game players an option to get frenzy charges without parry, but we have to be very careful not to make this too easy and remove the reward from parrying combos. In order to do this, we are adding a new skill on the second row of the spear skills called the Call of the Week. This skill is effectively the same as Killing Palm on the Monk, but for frenzy charges. That's pretty cool. If a monster is in calling range, using the Call of the Week will charge towards the monster, killing it instantly and give you a frenzy charge. This skill should be patched in the next few days. Bravo, bravo. We also want to improve the feeling of parry more generally. Two issues that we have identified are that in some cases it feels like you should parry monsters but don't. I felt that many times. I'm like, they hit me and I'm not parrying them. And that in other cases you get heavy stunned in cases where you feel like you shouldn't. We are currently investigating improvements to these. And other bit of feedback are players who don't want to enter melee range at all. While the primary goal of the class is incentivizing a ranged slash melee hybrid playstyle, we do think we can improve this type of gameplay somewhat while still incentivizing using both types of attacks. To make this type of gameplay feel better, we are going to be buffing the speed of the spear throws generally, but especially lightning spears. The damage will remain the same, meaning that you will get approximately about 25% buff at DPS from using the lightning spear. Some other spear throws will receive a slight speed increase too, but they generally have other mechanics that mean that attack speed on them is less relevant. Yeah, lightning spear, you throw it out, but the one thing about, they did address the lightning spear throw. They said it was taking way too much mana and you're throwing them fast, but your mana was depleting too fast. So they addressed that, so it won't take that much mana to throw. They did that on a hotfix yesterday, I believe. Player minion damage and life. One of the areas of the major balance adjustments in point 2 was that the minion life and damage curves for players. And the 1.11 endgame minion characters were getting very out of control values, mostly due to being able to significantly increase gem level of these gems. We previously significantly reduced the growth of minion life and damage as these gems gain levels, and the intention was to mostly hit the top of the end game, but it seems like they had an unintended effect on campaign as well. That's me, not you. We are making a change to increase the damage and life that minions get during the campaign to be more similar to before, while still keeping the scaling nerfs that are introduced in higher minion levels of endgame. It's a plus. I think they did this, and I did try out my minion build, and it did feel more tanky, like they were doing hits and not dying as quick. Because for bosses, they're just getting one shot by like the Act 2 boss. I was like, what's going on here? Monster life too high. One of the first things we look at when considering clear speed concerns was the monster life curve. We found that the monster's life through the most of the campaign after Act 1 was probably too high. We have made an adjustment to lower monster life by 25% through most of the campaign, and this change has been deployed already. A second issue we found was that the life bonus on rare monsters was incredibly high. Yes, it was. One of the reasons why this feels particularly bad is because these monsters are still white, but had more life than blue monsters. This calibrates players' expectations incorrectly and makes rare fights harder than they should be. This number has been set back to what it was in 1.1, which lowers rare minion life by about 60%. this change has been deployed. That's what I was feeling like talking about in my last video. It's like I'm fighting a skeleton and he is not dying super fast. It's a skeleton. It doesn't make sense for like a skeleton to be, like hit that hard. It's like and like have that much tankiness to him. It says large area sizes. Many players have reported that areas feel like they are too large. Normally, when this is the case, the main reason is due to other concerns such as monster's life or player damage being incorrect, or just a lack of entertaining content in the area. However, we are checking to see if there are any outliers. The players are spending too long in to see if any changes to area size need to happen. In the meantime, we did notice that there are some areas that don't have significant checkpoints, so we are doing a pass of adding some more of these. Feels like, I don't know, because the game has slowed down a bit, but areas are feeling a lot bigger. I did notice that. I'm like, why does this area feel so? I'm just running around trying to find something, and it does feel bigger. Like I said, it could be connected because monsters are taking longer to kill, and that could be adding to like the map size speed. It says crashes and disconnects. On launch day, we have had a server and common client crash in town that failed to deserialize object crash. This crash was fixed on the first day, but there are still other client and server crashes that remain. Currently, the number of client crashes is actually a bit lower than zero point 0.1 due 0.1 due to working around somewhat common NVIDIA driver crash. But the rate of these server-side crashes is approximately 6 times higher, which results in getting suddenly disconnected. Thankfully, server-side crashes are significantly easier for us to debug, and we believe that we should be able to resolve most of these within the next few days. Of course, we will continue to work on the client crashes as well, but as the primary crash we had in 0.1.1 is now resolved, we believe that we should be able to fix the remainder of these fairly quickly. That's good. Quality of life features. We are additionally working on a few extra features that should be released relatively soon. The first one is adding a system of bookmarking locations on your Atlas map. This system will allow you to save the locations with name on the Atlas so you can find them later. Another is adding stash tab affinities for more item types, including socketables and tablets, and updating the flax affinity to include charms. Nice. And another is adding a way to rebind scepters and tame beasts so that you can experiment with these options more easily. Right now, you would just have to spend a skill gem. Sometimes, if you're just like first starting out the game, you don't have that many skill gems, and you don't want to be tanking your skill gems just to like try out if like an enemy is weak. That's cool if you could like resocket it, or you maybe use that same socket or ability and just like keep changing things out without having to use maybe a skill gem. That'd be pretty cool. Make it like an ability and have that ability there. But then it comes to different, like what if you want multiple, I guess that's like scepters. So we'll see. Maybe rebinding will be pretty cool, but we'll see. Maybe use an ability, have that as an ability, and that ability have like maybe like a tree. So maybe when you like do catch something, it's like on a sheet, or like kind of like Pokemon balls or something like that. There's sockets. There's a bunch of sockets, something that you could choose from, just like a tab tree. Maybe you could have that for your minions and scepters, or like tame beasts or something. You could have that there, so you just like can pick and choose. So it doesn't have to be locked behind it like a skill gem, and then you could just socket it. And if you want to upgrade it, you can just like keep socketing which ones you like. Is that a crazy idea? I don't think it's a crazy idea. Just have like maybe like 20 slots, and you get to pick which slot you want to use at that time. Or if you want to have multiple, if you have the option of having multiple, like having scepters or something like that, you could do it that way, and you could like buff those. Is that a crazy idea? I don't know if it could work. Maybe with tame beasts, it's more of an option. Scepters, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I think there's one more thing, changes to Act 3 areas. I think Drowned City and Utzal, there was like a big area where it was just leading you to nowhere. I guess there was supposed to be a door there. It says our focus on this time is Act 3 areas, since the act has somewhat overall longer completion time. So they're scaling some of these down. They scaled down the Drowned City I guess it was like a long piece of walkway and there was no checkpoint there, so they deleted that. And same with this one. Apex of Filth, this area is shaped like a large spiral, which was originally done because the boss area had to be in the center of them to maintain continuity. For the past version, we will be breaking this continuity to make the area smaller, which will make the area better overall. Azak Bog, this area is a large square that is extremely high variance in how long it takes to find the boss because the location of the boss is highly variable. We have changed the area to be more rectangular with the boss that you can get to the boss more quickly without needing to explore the entire area, as well as making it somewhat smaller. Good, because when I did this when I did the Azak Bog trying to find that witch, it took me forever. It was like the last area I had to explore. I'm like, oh, I had to go. I had to look at my map, see if there was any blue like marks. I'm like, which area did I didn't explore yet? And then I'm like, of course it was like the last area I could find because I was looking everywhere on the map. Infested Barrens. This area primarily trips people up because it requires you to find a waypoint on the waterways before you can continue on the Chimera wetlands. If you want to be able to come back easily after finishing Wakam Sanctums, we are modifying the area to have bottleneck requiring you to go past the entrance to the waterways near the start, meaning that there are less things you need to try to find in the area and cutting down the size significantly. I like this. Not making maps like 30-40 minutes. I like that. It says Jungle Ruins. This area had a problem where it was often hard to identify the exit to the infested barrens from far and away. We have made the entrance more clear and moved the checkpoint further so you are more likely to see it. This area has also been slightly smaller. Chimera Wetlands. This area has some random variations, but put the entrance of the Temple of Chaos very far away from the entrance to the Machinarium, requiring a lot of backtracking. We are moving these two entrances closer together. Nice, because usually they were just like opposite ends of the map. That's why I always knew, I'm like, I always got to go here. And probably the boss is going to be on the other direction. Jaquani's Machinarium. This area primarily takes extra time due to searching the soul cores. We have added an extra soul core to reduce the average amount of time it takes to find them. Smart move. Chiquani's Sectum. This area suffers from the same problem as Machinarium. We have added an extra soul core to this area so as well to reduce the amount of time you need to search. Bravo. Because I had problems with this. I'm like, I'm searching the whole map. Usually it's right here. It's not here. Now I have to like backtrack and look everywhere for it. General changes. We also have noticed that a common issue is doing a side area and then coming back to the area and finding that it has been reset, making you need to clear it a second time. We have a more permanent solution in mind that for this issue, but has a temporary improvement that we have increased the timeout time in the area for areas with side areas off them. This should reduce how often you run into this issue. These changes should be deployed within the next few days, of course, and we will continue to monitor things and see if further changes are needed. That's pretty much it, guys, from what I've seen. So area changes, and they're doing some buffs. They're retracking back. At least for the hunters, they're saying, all right, we got to change some things. We're getting the feedback, and we got to change some things to make her feel. If you want the parry mechanics to really work, you could do parry mechanics. Also, having to get frenzy charges quicker, huge bonus. Huge bonus. I might even go back and play the Huntress because I know I was playing the Huntress. She's my second favorite so far from what I played. The Warrior is still my favorite. I've been crushing it through with my Warrior. Feeling strong. I'm feeling rewarded for my hits. The mini class that did pre-patch with all this definitely felt so weak. So I'm glad they're reverting back a bit and reverting some changes. So your end game, you're gonna now like feel like, all right, these are what my minions can really do, versus really nerfing the minions in like the campaign. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think of the changes. It's good to see that they're reverting back to some things. Looking at feedback for the Huntress and saying, all right, parry mechanic is a huge thing. A lot of people want to wait to get hit to start parrying. They want to just instantly smash. So it's good to have an option for them to get a frenzy charge. I was like looking to get frenzy charges, but it's like hard to like pin monsters. Like it's one of the spear gems. Like you could get a frenzy charge, but that wasn't proccing for my chick. Like pinning or having the option to pin to like get a frenzy charge wasn't working. Maybe certain abilities are only able to pin, but I couldn't find one for the Huntress, unfortunately. All right, guys, love you to pieces. Thank you for joining. Thanks for watching. Give a like, give a subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about point two and all the changes they are making. That's awesome that they're looking into map sizes and decreasing them so we're not running around looking for a way out. They're making it more condensed. I think this is a better way, especially if they want to slow things down just a little bit. Looks like they're addressing that too, making monsters, rescaling their health pools, which they implemented already. Looking into making minions not so terrible, which is a plus. So reverting back to how they were, also, and scaling them more down in end game so they don't get it so crazy in end game, which is a good thing if you're leveling through the campaign. All right, guys, love you to pieces. Let me know what you guys think about point two. What do you guys, have you guys played it? Have you guys put it down for a while until all these changes are done? Let me know, because a lot of people were raging on day one. It was crazy. It was crazy. All right, guys, love you to pieces. Stay versus stay rising. Until next time, peace. Oh yeah.